One of the things that people ask me a lot is how Kenny and I got together. He has a version of the story and I have a version of the story, and my version of the story is the correct version. We were in a training session. We both worked for the same company, and we were supposed to meet in Hauppauge, New York for training class. I met him on the first day. I saw him looking at my tushy, so I just kind of exaggerated it a little so he wouldn't miss it. I spoke to him in not short sentences, and so I would make sure that he was paying attention to me, so if he asked me a question about the class, I elaborated probably more than I needed to. We have been together since the first day of that class.
Ken's been with the Mavericks about 20 years. Met him the first day he was here, found out he was from New York, and we thought, oh brother, another Yankee.
You know, I remember when I first bought the Mavs and I first met Ken, I was like, who is this dude? He's got this New York accent. I'm like, how the hell did you even find your way here?
When you first met him, you didn't get a lot of warm and fuzzies from Ken. He would come at you pretty hard, just to see kind of what you were made of and kind of who you are.
Well, yeah, I met Ken when he was first hired back in '96. You got to realize Ken's got sometimes a dry sense of humor, and if you don't really know him, he can throw you off.
Everybody that first comes across Ken always heard the New York accent and a little bit of his hard-nosed attitude that goes with it, and probably got scared away initially, which is a little bit of funny as you see them kind of walk away from Ken a little bit scared.
You know, I've been here, just finished my 37th year with the Mavericks. Ken, probably close to 20 or a little over. Ken's very direct, very to the point, and there's no gray area.
When I met Brother Ken, I thought he was the rudest person in the world. I said, there's gotta be a soft side to this man somewhere.
I met Ken about 3 or 4 years ago at a racetrack outside of Fort Worth, and a mutual friend said, hey, you gotta meet this guy. He's kind of like you. He's from New York, and he's got this weird sense of humor, and I can't tell if he's insulting me or being nice to me, and he wanted me to go meet the guy. So I walked over there, and there was Ken sitting in this Dodge Viper on the grid of the track, and I stuck my head in and I said, hey, this dude wants me to say hey to you because he thinks we're gonna be friends. And I said, I already have enough friends, and I can only have 7 friends at one time, so if you come into the group, I gotta bump somebody else, and that's a pretty high mark to have happen. So within about a month, I bumped one of the on the 7. Ken came in and became one of the permanent 7. And within about 60 days, Ken was one of my best friends and as close to me as one of my brothers.
Once you got to know him, you knew his bark was way bigger than his bite.
I figured him out real early in the process, and as a result, I mean, he became one of my best friends.
Underneath that hard shell, there's a real soft side to the guy, a real caring side, a real helpful side. And maybe you didn't win him over on the relationship side first, but you won him over on the competency side. And once he knew and felt like, you know, you knew what you were doing or you were working, he was willing to jump in and help you out in any way he could.
So as we got to know each other, he said one day that he liked my house. I was like, Houston, we got a breakthrough. The brother's got a heart and some love in him.
He has this laugh that is just infectious. When he would laugh, my blood pressure would go up and I couldn't help but, you know, smile, and I like to have this like serious scowl on, but I'd get around Ken and I would start laughing like a little kid.
He loved to try to impress me. Kenny had never gone through one of those gas station car washes, so he was trying to impress me by taking his car through a gas station car wash, and he got caught in the rails and couldn't get his car out, and it was a big ordeal. We had great times exploring different regions of the U.S. and going on vacations.
Used to love hearing stories of their vacations, going to the beach. They almost did that every year.
Ken's just one of those guys that He can fix your car, he can fix your telephone, he can fix your computer. He's like my dad. There's not anything he can't do. But he is proud of his cars. He does like fast cars, very, very fast cars.
When my car wouldn't work, he would either laugh at me because the question was so simple and we'd go out in the parking lot and fix it, or he would tell me that the quote from my mechanic is reasonable and you just need to suck it up and pay for it.
It seemed like every weekend he'd come and tell me, "Hey, I changed my brake system in one of the cars," or something like that. And I go, "Ken, you serious, man?" He goes, "I love it, Steve. I just go into the garage, that's my haven, turn on the radio, and just get to work." And he said, there's nothing like at the end of the day knowing, hey man, I did this all myself, by myself, with my own hands. And I admired the heck out of him for that.
He's a pretty decent driver. He could have been a lot better, but he would not get out of that Viper. And it really bugged him, because I was also Denise's instructor, that she was actually a better driver than he was. I wouldn't tell anybody that, but she got it. You know, she kind of went ripping around the turns and all the kind of shit. Ken was a little more challenged, but he was enthusiastic and he was just always a blast.
The Mavs spent no money on anything, let alone had a decent tech guy. So I'm thinking, okay, you know, I'm coming in, I'm changing it to my way of doing things. Whoever they have for tech has got to suck, right? So it's just a matter of time before I fire his ass. And we got to do streaming, right? My whole business background was streaming. He goes, "I got it, I'll figure it out." I'm like, okay, this will be my chance, right? He'll be at it. Boom, he comes back, boom, 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 boom. And he's got it all figured out. I'm like, okay, maybe this guy's got a shot.
A few years ago, we were trying to get a new scores table. We sent out bids to 3 different companies, and Ken and I looked at each other and said, "What? This is ridiculous to pay this kind of money for this kind of sign." And Ken goes, "Yeah, you know what? Let's just build our own." The next day, you know, we looked into it. We called a local company here. Ken had kind of these written plans drawn up. The NBA came in to look at it. And to this day, there's probably a dozen teams that now have that same scores table. But that was the type of guy he was. He's very innovative, you know, very knowledgeable.
He's into analytics, he's into artificial intelligence, he's into website development, app development. He helps Mark with the Shark Tank business as well as the Mavericks. He's instrumental in the scoreboard operation, in the scorers table operation, in the sideboards at the arena. And he was also front and center when those decisions were made, and his input was valuable in making the right decision for our company.
I used to introduce Ken as this is the Mavs IT guy to my friends at the Maverick game and so forth, and it just doesn't do it justice. Ken was really Mark Cuban's right-hand guy for all things technology.
And it got to the point where there was never anything I could throw at him where he didn't already have it. And he always kept me on my toes because I knew he was trying to stay ahead of me, so I had to stay ahead of him. He kicked my ass a few times, but I got him a few times too. You know, he's an amazing guy. There aren't enough amazing things to say about him.
We've become very good friends over the course of his tenure with the Mavericks, and there's not one thing that I wouldn't do for him, and I don't think there's one thing that he wouldn't do for me either. He's a great friend, and I've come to count on him and rely on him very, very much.
He was always kind of in my ear about my own spirituality. In fact, I used to text him all the time and say, I called him my spiritual guru, because he would send me quotes from the Bible pretty regularly, and I always appreciated that.
When I was born, he was kind of already there, already married to Aunt Nisi, so he's kind of been there my whole life. I got to stay with him for a couple of years because my grandma had a quadruple bypass, and he was really rough about school, and I was like, why is this guy so rough? Like, I just want to be a child, and he helped me get to college. He was the only one that understood that this is important, and he saw a future when I didn't in myself. He was really special and almost like a father figure since I didn't have one.
You know, in closing, I'm just going to miss my dear friend. He was, we just had so many great times together. He loves Denise so much. He was so proud of everything she was accomplishing from the business side and her different projects.
I ended up with a bad heart, So once again, I'm back in the hospital. And when I came out and was able to get around, Ken was the one that walked me every day. And we walk and talk, and I got to know him better. So I think he was great son-in-law. I couldn't have had a better one.
We used to share stories with each other, how to get something done, and we really learned from that and probably grew from that too. And I took a lot of his advice, and he took a lot of my advice. And so I think I probably became a little tougher. He probably became a little softer when it's all said and done.
He has become an integral part of my life. He truly made me a better person, and that's not from my observation. That's from other people looking at me, going, you're by nature a self-centered nihilist, and when I'm around Ken a lot, I actually kind of think about other folks. So it's a testament to him. Love the guy, love Denise.
Ken made his living through his knowledge of technology, but he defined his life by his caring for others.
I love my brother dearly. He always loved me so much, and I felt that all the time. And I'll never forget, we were at Flushing Meadow Park, and it was the day I was going to ride my bike without training wheels, and he was holding on to the back of the banana seat, and we were riding, and I'm talking to him, and I'm like, right, Ken? How am I doing, Ken? And the next thing I knew, he didn't answer, and I was like, what's going on? And I turned around, and I turned back, and I looked, and Ken was off in the distance. He had let me go, and I was riding my bike. I'll never forget that feeling. And so I kind of feel like with his passing, he's letting me go as well. And he knows, you're good, Chrissy, you're good, and I know you're good, Ken. As his sister, I saw him at his low moments throughout his life, and I've seen him at his perfectly high moments, and I am so proud of him. I have so much in my heart to thank him for.
We've had so many memories of funny things that we've done over the years. We laugh at our past. We come up with strange things to do to keep each other informed of where we are. We have code words for everything. And we just find ways to enjoy the simplest things and the silliest things while enjoying each other. We love each other, we love our families, and we love the God we serve, and we try to serve Him very well every day. So I love my husband. He's weird, he's strange, he's mine, and that's really all that matters. Thank you, God, for him. Kenny's version of how we met. I was sitting at the front of the class. He was sitting at the back of the class. He says that he moved up a few chairs and that he approached me and that he was the initiator of our relationship. But I guess I kind of agree with him because he did ask questions that were really right in front of him. But I initiated the first conversation, but he swears he did. I dropped my pencil just like the old movies do, and I said, "Oh, excuse me, can you get that pencil for me?"